We are on.
All right, live from the San Francisco Bay Area, it is the Almost Punk Podcast with Olga and Colin.
Yes.
Yay!
Yay. This is our first episode, the pilot episode, and this is take, 5, 4.
There we go.
Or thereabouts. We had some technical issues. My dog kept squeaking her toys over it. It's good times. Good times.
We're fighting coronavirus.
Yeah, now we are.
Hard to do a podcast. We're in quarantine.
Yeah, we're just sitting on piles of Clorox wipes here, and I'm going to be, reselling them soon. That's cool. That's such a good side hustle idea, but no, I didn't actually stock up that much. So what are we here to, who are we, what are we here to do? Do you want to talk about that?
No.
Okay.
No, just kidding.
So we like punk, we like rock, we like music a lot.
We're a couple of fans.
Yep. And we are just going to talk about old stuff we've seen and done, and mostly bands we've seen. And we're going to talk about upcoming shows, tours, music, and so on. And it's almost punk because we will almost play punk music, but we can't play music on podcasts because of copyright issues. So instead, we will just describe it to you. It'll be good. We'll be like, this song is really fast, or this song is really catchy. You should go check it out somewhere else.
Yeah, I guess that's true. We have the news of the week, I guess.
Yes.
What it is here. It was you started topics for consideration here, and it was Green Day has their new album out. I think it's been out for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes.
You listened to it. I listened to it. Now we both know what's up. And then they advertised it with the infamous billboard that you had mentioned.
Yes. Well, I haven't mentioned it on this recording because to you I have. Yeah.
Go check this out and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
So now I'm ready.
And so the billboard, it was for their new album, of course. It's called Father of All.
Father of All Motherfuckers.
Oh.
That's the full title.
I didn't know that. Okay. And
learning something every day on the Almost Punk Podcast.
That's why we do this. And the billboard said no features, no Swedish songwriters, no trap beats, 100% uncut rock.
And not only that, it's every line is underlined with a line of cocaine, and then there's like some little cocaine snorter thing, like a $1 bill.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's what was controversial, but that's not what was controversial. Actually, what is this was on Twitter, and people started to really criticize it, saying that this is gatekeeping and it's anti-other genres and not very punk of Green Day to, complain about other genres or imply that they're better than them, I guess. And just a lot of calling them boomer, a lot of that.
And that just raised several questions for me, because I don't know if Green Day were the ones that even wanted that advertisement.
That is true.
Did they hire some company and that company came up with it? So then I listen to the album, you listen to the album, and then I'm thinking, okay, so this is going to be the hardest album of their career or something like that. They're going to go all in. No, it's one of the, I don't know, not wimpier, but it's hyper processed. Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. It sounds like Fits in the Tantrums. And it sounds like the Hives, if the Hives did a very highly produced album. Mm-hmm. They talk the no trap beats, the no featuring, but they do have a ton of vocal effects. There's a ton of drum effects. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound,
which everyone does now.
Yeah,
right?
It sounds like a regular, it's a modern rock album, and it's fine for modern rock. But when they go pure uncut and they're talking about that, it just doesn't fit. And then top it off with the criticism of them being old boomers, and then people...
Which is true, but it doesn't necessarily... They're older now. It doesn't necessarily make them irrelevant to me.
What do you think about the anti-defense? So that would be the criticism of Green Day.
Yeah, I think that you're onto something. I mean, I don't know. I doubt that a band of that size, it's not like they're a small local band that does all their own PR work, all their social media pages and their marketing. They don't do that. I'm sure they must have approved it, maybe at some point, or their
Someone
management did. Yeah. However, maybe you bring up a good point. I think the album itself, I didn't really enjoy. It's not one of their better albums. It's kind of boring. It's boring. And
I
maybe
listened to like not start to finish every album, but for the last couple hours, every album I've been listening to songs from the album.
Yeah.
And I would say it's one of they have Uno Dos Tres,
Right.
or Uno Dos Tre, and this album, I'd put them all in the same category on the bottom echelon of what I enjoy, where I'd put Dookie at the top.
Right.
And so that's where I'm at on that part.
And maybe that's why the focus had to be on what it doesn't have instead of
What
more of
does
what
it
it
have?
has. It's like, oh, it doesn't have all these things that you would never expect from a rock band or a pop punk band. Anyways,
It's
like
an
I wouldn't really
catchy album.
I wouldn't expect whatever Swedish songwriters, whatever that even. See, I didn't even know the reference. You have to
Dr.
explain
Luke.
it to me. Okay.
That's who it is. He
Okay.
wrote Kelly Clarkson stuff. He
Yeah.
wrote Kesha stuff. He
Okay.
wrote Lady Gaga stuff.
And of course,
Everything.
that's not how bands work. Like, if you're in a band, you write your own music.
True.
That's what makes bands different than, Katy Perry and Lady.
Is it an appeal to the youth by marketing your billboard as such? Because every song on the radio not every. It's a popular feature to feature other people on pop music.
Right.
So they're throwing it out there. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're cool. We're just playing uncut rock. And is that supposed to appeal to people that I don't even know who it's supposed to
I think
appeal
it's probably
to. Who the
supposed
heck
to
is it supposed to appeal? That's the
probably
question.
people who are not the young people,
Me?
because maybe because then it's like, oh, these kids these days, they're listening to all these features and Swedish songwriters and features, and we're not like that. Everybody's, using
And
a
then
lot
they call
more.
their album Father of All Motherfuckers. So I'm like, okay, they're coming at me this time. They're going all punk.
That's just, and then that's
No.
the most sort of aggressive thing about the whole album is the title.
It doesn't fit to me.
Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to defend Green Day, because I thought, hey, I don't like trap beats. I don't like songs that feature other people. I hate everything. I'm an old curmudgeon. I just want to hear my rock and roll. They're promising me all this rock and roll, and then I get it, and I'm like, oh, man, it's okay, but I'm not going to listen to it on regular. I don't even know how I'm supposed to listen to it now. Now that I have Spotify, things have changed.
Oh,
It's a whole
because
nother-
you're new. You're new. This
I'm new to
is
Spotify.
New
I had
technology
it
for you.
This is like the beginning of week 3 of Spotify for me here.
Wow. What do you think so far?
The album is dead. I don't understand albums anymore.
See?
It's going to be adding one song at a time. I just hit the like button, put it in my like queue.
Yep.
And then every Friday they have the new mix for you. And then I just go through it. All the songs listen to like 5 seconds. I just hit the like on the 5 seconds that I like. And then I just have hundreds of songs. And then when I get in my car, I just put on the like playlist and I just listen to it straight up.
Yep.
That's it. There's no album involved.
Right.
I don't understand. If I were getting into punk now, I would be into it and over it within the same week, because you would hear every song.
Ever.
Like,
Yeah.
all the good stuff. It took me years to find all these things back in the day.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it's all right there.
Yeah.
And I would just consume it. That's where I'm wondering, what is the future of music? We're just going to be blasting through trends very quickly, because you hear it all.
It's
It's
true.
all there.
And I'm so bad now that I don't just skip around and listen to the song, bounce from song to song. I listen to certain song parts in some case, which is really kind of embarrassing and makes me feel like I have no more attention span left at all.
You don't.
I don't.
Neither do I.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because none of the songs we listen to are that long anyways. There's really not a lot of rock songs over 2.5, 3 minute top mark.
Yeah, I think now it'll be more common for songs to get shorter and shorter. We're moving backwards in the decades.
The preview is
in the 40s and the 50s with singles and all that stuff with low sound quality. That's what we're moving toward. And it wasn't until the 70s and the 60s and the 70s where albums became the big thing. That's over. So we're just going right back to singles. I don't know what bands are going to do to make money. They're not going to have anything to sell other than merch and their live show. And these concerts are costing $100 for mediocre, like not mediocre bands, but medium level.
Size, yeah, or
I mean,
whatever,
you're
yeah.
a band playing in a 1,000-seat hall, charging $40 plus fees. That's the consequence of this no album thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because the music is going to be free. Well, not free, but there's no revenue stream.
Right.
At least not right now. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, so Green Day puts out an album. People don't even care about albums. What does that mean for them? I don't know. What does it mean for the future? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what is cool about it on the flip side is that now you don't have to wait till you have a whole album to share it with people.
Yeah, just
Like
do it one at a
of the
time.
other albums I was really excited about in the last few weeks, actually a song, Drakulas. They had a new song, and it's like now if you're in a band that's not touring or super active or maybe between projects or whatever, you can just release an EP or you can release a single and
I think it makes
also
more sense.
generate. Yeah, and then now it's like you can see how it's doing or probably help you plan a tour based on where people are listening to it or whatever. It's that part is really cool.
Yeah, one song at a time. And then I think to myself, well, wouldn't I just want all 12 of them at once so I don't have to wait? It's like streaming TV shows.
That's
it's
what
the same
it's
thing.
reminding me of. Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, that's funny because TV shows went from being released one episode at a time to now entire seasons, and music kind of is going backwards on that. That's interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I think we're going to talk about the Drakulas probably next time. I just got a copy of their newest vinyl, but I can't listen to it because I do not have a record player
So, yeah,
handy. So, it'll take us a couple
What are you
weeks
gonna do?
to
What are
find the
you gonna
time
do?
to do that.
You can't even listen to an album if you want one. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to buy one, what
and
can
I
you listen to
did,
it?
and I did to support them. They
New cars don't have a CD player in the car,
That's
so you can't
right.
buy a CD. So then you have to stream. And like I was saying, the streaming albums is weird because you have to go and search for it and then like make a playlist for it. And it just seems like a lot of work when I really only want to hear that one song anyway. I'm just going to hit the like button instead. And then I don't have to
Just do
deal
that.
with it. And so, yeah, you put out the vinyl. I go buy the vinyl. I got nothing to play it on except in my garage. I have the stereo out in the garage
Yeah.
and I can hook it up. And that's okay. It's too cold. I don't want to go out
It is
there.
too
I don't want to
cold.
do any of that.
It's the
I don't have
cold
enough room.
California winter right now.
Yeah. And so then,
Yeah, I bought this album and I started texting you and I'm like, oh, do you have a record player?
Yeah.
And you're like, what's up? Yeah, it's not set up. And I'm like, So now I'm like, does your dad have a record player we
Yeah.
can use to listen to this album? I mean, it's going to be an adventure.
yeah, I see that not working for many bands that are trying that.
As a strategy.
I think it's a cool thing as a souvenir to buy.
Yeah.
But it's out of control pricing on these things now.
It was like $20 for
for an
last one I
album.
bought,
This is
yeah.
what the complaint with CDs back was like $18.99 for a piece of plastic. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
but
it
at
should be
least records
$9.99.
take more money to press per.
I know, but you still have to pay.
Yeah.
So I got nothing on that. It's just
But the audio quality is so much better.
well, yeah. If you have a good sound system, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Because my wife has a built-in. It looks like it's from the 30s. Crosley, I believe that's the name of. So it looks old and it has this cool. There's no bass coming from this machine. It's
okay.
just all treble. Oh, it looks really cool, but it sounds like crap. And then there's no point in buying a record if it's just going to sound like crap anyway. You need the whole real speaker system, and if you don't get the right weighted thing on the needle, then it just ends
Yeah.
up scratching your record after 5 plays, and then you have to throw it away anyway because it's got all these hissing and crackles.
Yeah.
And so you really have to have a good system. And I have one, but then I have to set it up.
Yeah. My
It doesn't connect
parents
to my TV.
had a record player when I was young, and I learn how to use it as a kid, and I would play stuff on it all the time. And now I'm too nervous to even, all my vinyl is like kind of collectible or limited edition, limited release, limited press, whatever. And I'm like, I don't trust myself with this. I'll screw this up. I mean, I mess up things I own constantly.
I remember back in high school, I had a Fisher-Price plastic record player that I was using for all the records I was buying in high school on like these 7 inches. And I didn't know anything about it, and it has a plastic needle. It was just destroying these records very quickly. But, I mean, it's Fisher-Price. It's built for children. I just thought, oh, this is cool. It's so portable. I got this little thing. And, destroyed everything. I had these rare albums. Whoops, I didn't know.
Oh, no.
So they're all garbage now.
Yeah.
But I don't think I cared.
No.
But it doesn't work as a keepsake at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There's no, well, I feel like streaming is kind of the way to go these days.
I think I've come to a conclusion right now.
Okay.
You start a new band.
Okay.
You release one song.
Ever.
You break up. If you want to do anything else for your rest of your life, start a new band. You only get one song.
Okay.
Put that song out. Break up. Every song you want to do, you have to start a new band and post one new song, and you're done. You might do 2. If you blow up, you get that like secondary play.
Yeah.
That's probably the future.
That's taking the one hit wonder.
Yeah,
concept
everything will be one hit.
Well, that's true, because anything can go viral these days. Well, not anything, but there is the potential somewhat. Okay.
You could come back maybe 5 years later, maybe once. If you're huge.
Yeah.
What's Psy doing from Gangnam Style these days?
We haven't been in touch, but
he's probably big elsewhere. But as far as being big in the United States, he had the one big song.
Yes.
And I think that is the way to go for all bands in the future. Just be like Psy.
Yeah, I don't know. If only I could be that good. If only. Another album that has come out recently is Refused. They have an album called War Music, which is pretty awesome.
It was awesome.
So, yeah.
And it's an album, which I bought on the CD.
Oh, wow.
So I haven't even listened to it on the Spotify. I like to put the in front of everything.
Yeah.
I bought the CD and I played it on the Spotify. No, I didn't play it on the Spotify.
Okay, boomer.
I just played it on the CD player in my car.
Oh.
And I liked it.
It's good. It's fast. It's energetic. It has
Songs.
It's not.
That was a rare one
and the
for
reason
Refused.
we say that is because they can be experimental, and sometimes that doesn't lead to songs. And by songs we mean verse, chorus, maybe a bridge, verse, chorus, and outro.
It's post-hardcore.
Yeah.
So therefore, by throwing the word post, that usually means we're no longer doing songs. That's, to me, what post means. You do post-punk, post-hardcore. It's just the weird noisy parts of songs as the song.
Do they have post-pop or post-electronic?
There must be. I'm not familiar with the genre so much, but there has to be. I don't know, but post-pop. There's got to be.
There's got to be.
You know what? I'll say the Billie Eilish song Bad Guy.
Yeah.
We'll call that post-pop because it doesn't have a chorus.
Oh, okay.
It just has a music playing in the background.
Okay.
But it still has some structure, though, so it's on the cusp, as all the pop things are.
There you go. I guess her music to pop music is kind of what post-hardcore is to hardcore.
Yeah.
A little more electronic and a little bit more
Angular.
Yeah, complicated. Yeah.
But this album,
awesome.
20 years into their career, they're writing songs.
Yeah.
Very strange. You know, the lead singer, he has he has several side projects who actually do songs. One of those is a power pop band. Oh. And I remember listening to that album. It was like 2005. That was good. And the whole thing was just power pop. So I know he has the capability of writing songs based on other stuff. And I always wondered, wow, Refused. You know, they're loud, they're angry, they're aggressive, but they don't have a single hook. except for New Noise.
Oh, which is, yeah, it's not exactly
And even
a
New
radio
Noise.
friendly.
Yeah, New Noise is
song.
not a radio
Are you
friendly.
talking about the International Noise Conspiracy being his other band?
I wasn't. Well, that is a good example, but that
Okay.
they're still post something too.
Yeah.
They're like indie, but he had another one.
Okay.
I didn't know we were talking about them, so I can't remember the name of that band, but
Okay.
they, yeah, he has it in him to write these songs. He did it in other music, and now
Invasionin, I think is
No,
the name,
no.
according to
No.
Wikipedia. Okay, well,
I guess I could look it up right now.
I think it's
Oh, what's that
Invasion. I
guy's
don't know.
name? Refuse Side Projects. So many of them. He just has so many of them.
I don't think you're going to be able to. Oh my gosh, his name is actually Sven. That's exactly what I imagined.
What? No,
the
I thought his name was
of-
Dennis.
Oh yeah.
There's so many of them.
Oh, he's in the fake names. No, but Sven is his birth name, according to Wikipedia.
Oh, okay. I can't pronounce his name. Dennis Lixen.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh man, he's got a ton of other bands, and then of course, well, we could spend 20 minutes here after I try to find them, but it doesn't matter. My point was he knows how to write songs,
But
and he
sometimes
does.
chooses not to.
Yes.
Oh, you know what it reminds me of is when I took art history, and you know how people usually think that you don't need as much talent to do sort of more modern art as opposed to like impressionist or that type of paintings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember a teacher showing us like, here's what Picasso used to paint like before he kind of, found his style, and that's exactly what that sounds like to me. Like you can make a similar product to other people, something that is pretty common in your industry, but you choose not to.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
It's because they're from Sweden.
That's probably not.
There's like my theory now, and I've seen it on Canadian albums. Sometimes you look on the back of them or in the inside sleeve, and it'll say something about funded through the Canadian Art Project. A lot of stuff says this stuff. So I'm like, these bands got free money to record because the government valued the arts and they let it happen.
What is that like?
And as Sweden, isn't it the same thing? They give you money for things in Sweden. Like in the United States, you don't care. If you got a problem, you can go starve. No one cares about you. That's kind of how we are in a nutshell over here.
Yep.
But in other places, they care about people more. So they care about their art in Canada so much that they're willing to just give money to indie rock bands to go record albums. Could you imagine the world we'd live in?
No.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
And
And I
over
think
there, it's
it
like,
probably,
oh, we have to value things.
And I think it also tends to, I can see that sort of thing being funded more in countries where they don't really export as much cultural things like, movies or music and things like that. So then they want to kind of more invest into it. Whereas here we are I think that's a safe thing to say, pretty big exporter of entertainment for the rest
Yeah.
of the world. Music, movies, TV, everything. And so I think that's less likely to happen. Oh, actually, but I went to Albuquerque once, and for example, they give tax cuts to movies that want to shoot there to attract that industry.
Okay.
And so a lot of movies had at least parts of them that were filmed there because of tax reasons.
Yeah, I've seen that for Georgia as well. A lot of shows. The Steve Harvey Show. What's that one? The one show I watched that says "Made in Georgia" in it.
Family Feud.
It's
Okay.
made in Georgia.
Oh.
It has a logo at the end of it that says "Made in Georgia."
I didn't.
So that's a thing,
Okay.
but not the same as giving money straight up to
Yeah.
Steve Harvey to go film the show in Georgia. They're like a tax credit. So
Yeah, it's a little.
little
I mean, it's
different.
not. It's not, but I'm saying it's kind of similar.
Is that a good thing? It's like, I think yes, and I also think no.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
I don't know.
Because valuing the arts seems like a good thing.
Yes.
Paying people to do that, though, and then I start wondering, because then I think, well, shoot, if they get $500 to do whatever they want as an artist, give me $500 to do what I want as an artist.
Yeah.
And I'd feel like that other person with the 500 would do something really good, and I wouldn't. But I would still do something but we're putting an equal. I don't know. I just feel like if you want the cream of the crop to rise up, you have to start everybody with nothing, and then the good will just become the good. Actually, that's not really working, though. That's more of a conceptual thing. I guess I'm just
because
overly capitalist, even on the arts.
Yeah, it's still, there's different things that would get more popular. And also, just because something,
they like what they like.
Exactly. Like me, I never care about award ceremonies because nobody I really like is ever going to be honored or invited to them, really. And so that's an area that a lot of people really care about, and they follow all the different types of award ceremonies, but they don't really even represent rock that well or at all sometimes.
Not at all anymore.
And so I don't care if, like I know none of the bands I listen to are winning a Grammy, but I don't like them any less for it. And I really don't care as a fan. And I don't think they care. You don't start a punk band to win a Grammy
But
yeah.
if the government were going to give you $500, you'd probably take it.
Yeah.
I think I would.
Yeah.
Regardless of what your intent is. I think,
then it would be funny to use that money to complain about the government, which is exactly what
maybe that's what they give them the money for. They don't want the left to rise up, so they give them money so that, you got your $500. You don't have to complain. Something like that. You get your health care. You get your $500 for an album.
For recording. I wonder what you have to do to qualify. We should look into it.
Move to Canada?
Well, we could
They'll
probably
fund the podcast. We'll get sound effects and sound editing in Canada. We just won't get that here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll just find a Canadian producer. There you go.
I know Bob Rock. Well, I don't know him. I don't know him personally. I just know he's from Canada. That's the only person I know.
Well, there you go.
The biggest one of them all.
Well,
I don't know what he's doing these days.
He's
not producing Anti-Flag's new album, 2020 Vision. That was the other new one that we'd listened to as well. We were listening to it right before we started this one. Sounds like Anti-Flag to me. That one is, if you like a band and you like how they just maintain what they do, that's the new Anti-Flag album is the main maintenance album.
So speaking of, it was interesting because just today I realized who was producing actually did produce the Anti-Flag album, which I usually don't look up, but today I kind of was looking around when I was on public transportation, and Matt Good, he used to be, or I don't know if that band's still around, but From First to Last, the band with what is his name? Skrillex. Before Skrillex became Skrillex. That was the band. And so now then Matt became the singer of From First to Last. And then now, I don't even know if the band's around, but he is the producer for 2020 Vision, which I thought was interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Anti-Flag, they've been around now for
a long
20
time.
years?
Yeah, probably.
I still like Underground Network. This 2020 Vision does not sound like Underground Network. What I was talking about was more of the overarching themes and speed of song and pop punk nature of the music. As far as the audio production, it sounds more like the one that came after it, which I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but that was the major label album. So it has like the big...
Terror State?
Yes.
Maybe.
It has that sound.
Yeah.
But they are just a band that they do that thing. That's what they're going to do. And so I was comparing that to Green Day. Green Day changes all the time. Every album they have is different. In some cases, significantly, even moving into different genres. Anti-Flag has pretty much maintained what they're doing. And so I'm more likely to enjoy that because I like the same thing over and over again. Like a 3-year-old just likes to watch the same movies over and over again.
Anti-Flag is your Frozen soundtrack.
I still don't understand how they stick to the same topics album after album. It's government stuff
Yep.
oppression of the people.
I
20
think-
years of oppression of, I guess, because it never goes away. There's always something
Yep. And
to
there's
do.
always thankfully our government does not makes them run out of material.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
There's always something.
I think that's what happened with Rage Against the Machine. You know, down with the government, down with oppression. They made millions of dollars, and they're like, hey, you know what? We're good.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if Anti-Flag, if they were big and successful, like Rage Against the Machine, would they be like, we're good now. We only have to play 2 shows a year on a reunion tour every couple of years, just like Rage Against the Machine.
I don't know,
does.
but Rage Against the Machine is back now. They're playing a big tour. It's all sold out pretty fast and everything. And there's a lot of criticism about that tour. I didn't
think
spend
about
too
it.
much time reading into it because
They only play every few years.
Yeah.
They haven't had an album in forever. The money runs out.
Yeah.
Therefore, they are economically oppressed, and they have to
Oh.
get their rage back.
there you
Then
go.
they make the money,
Then
and then
there's no
they're like,
more rage.
hey,
Yeah.
let's go back to the beach. Beach house parties.
You're either
They
part
break up
of the
the band.
machine or you're raging against it.
That's why I like them, because they're so mad. And then they get all this money, and they go, you know what?
Not so
life's
bad
not
anymore."
so bad anymore. And then they run out of money, and they're like, man, you know what? Life sucks. We have rage, man. And then they go back out there, and they rage.
It's like what I don't like about a lot of people who talk about minimalism is they're like, I had all this stuff and I got rid of it and I feel great. I am wonderful. And then I'm thinking, yeah, but there's people who don't have a lot of stuff in the first place and they're not choosing this.
Exactly.
And there's no sort of, there doesn't, from people I've seen talk about it, there doesn't seem to be that awareness that in itself is a privilege to be like, I don't need all these things. And then they talk about, I just buy really nice things, but not many of them. I'll just buy like a $2,000 backpack instead of having $30 backpacks.
Well, do you ever hear, because I hear it quite a bit, people that love their tiny homes?
Yes.
Okay, it's easy to love your tiny home when you have an acre of property surrounding your tiny home. You don't have to deal with anyone. You know what regular tiny homes are? Apartment complexes. All those people living in giant apartment complexes with thousands of people, those are all tiny homes.
Yeah,
and you know what? It sucks.
Or you have like a regular normal size apartment, but you're sharing it with more people than it's meant to house.
Yeah,
And
also sucks.
Also sucks, yeah.
Those are tiny living situations. They all suck. So I don't know what this whole talking about tiny houses are the greatest thing. No, they're garbage. They only work when you have tons of property around you and you don't have annoying neighbors.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the tiny house. That has to do with people being assholes and they suck to deal with.
Yeah,
Like,
I've
'cause-
had some acquaintances who were telling me that I should get one. Not that I was in the market, but they both live in like 2-story houses.
I'll
that
take
are
a tiny
giant.
house if I don't have to deal with my neighbors ever again. And I control the volume level of my environment and I can go do what I want to do. I'll take one. Is that happening in a tiny house situation in the real world? No.
No. Also, where would you set up your record player?
You just put it outside. You're one with nature.
That's right. Hello, bears. I have the new Drakulas record. Let's listen to it together. See, that could be you. That could be us.
Oh boy.
We'll just be tiny home neighbors. No, let's not. What else is going on? We had some news-ish.
Okay.
Somewhat newish news. One of them was Fat Mike is starting a podcast. Everyone's starting a podcast these days, right? Even us. And so he is doing a sexual advice podcast. It's called Unsafe Words, except there's already seems to be a podcast by that name, but that's not with him. And what he's doing looks like he is gathering questions for it, and he's going to give advice. It sounds like it'll be like Love Line.
That's exactly what my research
Mike.
found the same thing independently. So therefore verified.
Okay, verified. Boom.
Love Line. So who's going to be his co-host? That's the question. It has to be a sexpert.
Ooh.
I don't
That's
know.
true.
That would
because
make more sense.
He can be more of he would be the Adam Carolla of
Yes, that's what
the
I would
show.
imagine.
Yeah, who is the star but not the expert. So yeah, maybe that's what's taking him a while.
He'll mix it up because he'll have Oh, I was thinking Dita Von Teese,
Okay.
but she's not the sexpert.
No, she's a burlesque and art
burlesque
of tease
spurt.
and glamour, fashion. Those are kind of her
Okay,
expertise.
I don't know who it is.
Also, I just don't see her collaborating with Fat Mike.
I was trying to go into that realm. It would be the sexpert version of that.
Oh.
If there is such a thing. But now I'm just making things up, so it doesn't even make any sense.
I don't know. Maybe he can get Dr. Drew from retirement. Is he retired? I don't know.
It's been delayed. He announced this thing, I think, 2-3 months ago. Nothing has come of it, and now this is our third podcast, even though it's still the first one. It is our third version of the first podcast. But we've mentioned it 3 times.
Yeah.
Still no show.
Maybe it's like a race to see which one of us has their shit together more. You and I or Fat Mike. That's a greatest race of the turtles or titans, depending on how you look at it.
I just don't understand.
Like, he's busy. We're busy.
That's what I think is the same thing.
There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work involved
That's what I think
in
it was,
taking on
is
another project.
He's like, I'm going to do this podcast. It's going to be a piece of cake, easy peasy. And then you start it and you're like, oh man, I have to do all this stuff I wasn't thinking about. And this equipment doesn't work.
Yep.
And I got to buy headphones. And this 1/8-inch jack doesn't fit into the 1/4-inch space and vice versa. And then he's like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah,
And that's how it happens.
That's true. And he is a busy guy. He's kind of like the punk renaissance man. He's written a musical. He's made an adult film. He obviously hasn't been in a ton of bands. He has a fashion line for like ladies, kind of underwear for men.
Have you heard? Okay, because I went on his Twitter being the research person that I am.
Right.
He announced debut album by a band, I think it was Bomb Pops, but it was produced by his production team. And I'm like, what the heck is that? So did you have any info on that?
I don't.
That would require, 30 seconds extra research that I just didn't do. But then I thought, wow, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. Well,
they're a punk band. So what does a production team do with a punk band? Because normally it's just you record the guitar, the drums, the bass, you sing, you're done. Album's over. What do you need a production team for? I don't understand it. But I guess I'll find out very quickly.
Maybe he had one for all those documentaries
We'll be
they
talking
made, like
about it.
Backstage Passport.
The
we could
episode
look it up, but it's
the-
much more fun for us to continue guessing.
Well, that's what I was saying. When they finally put out when he puts out his podcast, then we can talk about all these things together, and that will be that
good.
episode. Hopefully, it'll be the next one.
Yeah, maybe we can, talk about his podcast on our podcast, and it's just so meta. Everyone's anticipating that, I'm sure.
All right, were you ready to move on to any of your final things?
What are my final things? Oh,
grudges?
Do you have any
likes?
grudges this week?
No, I don't have anything new this week. It's just work stuff, not related to anything.
Things. I have a weird grudge that's not this week, but it's recent. There was a card store that was going out of business by my work, and so I've been there twice to get random stuff. And first time I went in, this lady was really rude to me because I asked how much something was, because they had all these signs all over the store, but it wasn't clear what the sale is currently as they're going out of business. And then she told me the price, and then she was very rudely like, well, can you put it back? And I thought, okay, well, she's just like upset because, she's losing her job. This sucks. I get it. She's in a bad mood. You're not going to get good customer experience when the store's closing. Then I had to go grab something else in the following week. And then she snapped at me again saying, oh, you waited in that whole line over a 60-cent purchase? It was like, again, I didn't even know how much it was. It was just like some tags, and I wanted to get some tags. And so she was rude to me twice.
Boo.
And so I have a grudge against her.
Good.
Yep.
Someone has to have a grudge.
Yep. We're pretty good at grudges. If there's one thing we're good at.
I just have been so mellow and in with the world that I have no...
I'm going to have a grudge against you if that's the case.
No, I don't have one. I don't have a like either. That's why I'm like a monk.
Whoa.
I'm just time is going on and I'm just there experiencing the world for all it is this last week.
Yeah. It's been a crazy time, I think, because of the coronavirus. I feel like people are kind of going nuts a little bit. Stores are out of water and
Well, they tell you flat out
towels.
the masks don't do any good. They tell you they don't do any good.
And everybody's
then
wearing
everyone's
masks.
wearing masks.
Yeah. Does everyone wear
But
masks?
so then it's
or-
like, do you trust what people tell you? Well, it depends on who it is.
Yeah.
But do you trust the CDC and the FDA and all these things? And I would think, well, for a 50-cent mask, I'll take their word for it on that one. But I could totally understand if you're like, I don't trust them. I'm better off with one than with that one. Okay.
One of my friends
don't have a
had
grudge,
his
so.
Clorox wipes that he purchased online stolen. Because that's the world we're in now. There's a shortage of Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer everywhere. And he was able to find some online, and one of his neighbors swiped it from his doorstep.
Dang.
So it is,
You know what he should do? Get the virus, spread it to the neighbor.
But
I
you
would
know which
totally do that. I would do it to everybody.
Just in case.
The whole neighborhood going down. I don't like anybody over in my neighborhood. Just take them all out. Just, I don't know, I'll take a day off from work.
Just
wait for random people to walk by and just assume that's the person. I'll do what it takes.
I'm pretty sure people on BART are doing that daily, and I'm just a ticking time bomb.
Well,
Yeah.
Bart's a whole nother.
BART is it's a whole other thing. It has coronavirus. It had coronavirus before it was even discovered, probably.
Yeah.
Like, it has a whole different series of diseases that we haven't even.
That's what I was thinking. I think
Discovered as-
coronavirus has something like a 2 to 4% death rate. I'm sure there's stuff on the BART that have been on there for decades that have higher than 2 to 4% death rate that you just get
Yeah,
by stepping in there. You're just at risk.
sure.
I believe that's Bay Area Risk
there.
Transit. That's what
That's
it stands for.
Yeah, because it's definitely not rapid. It's more
it's
risky
risk.
than
Yep.
rapid. Cool. So, anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I think I'm good for now. I'm sure I'll think of several things right after we stop.
Yeah, well, write them down for next week. And you can find us at almostpunk.com, almostpunk on Instagram. And if you want to send us an email us at almostpunkpod@gmail.com. And till next week, we will talk to you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.